Hello, my name is Ramon Church Jr. I'm with my team, the Three Musketeers, containing Michael J. and Sebastian Fordelin. We are presenting our game, Castle Raiders, today.
So the story of this game is about a undead knight that is resurrected by unknown means to get revenge on a king that wronged him in his past. You will fight knights, mages, skeletons, monsters, all that, hired and made to defend the king by all costs necessary. In this game, you will also be picking up weapons, spells, potions, whatever you need to eliminate your enemies on your way to the king and enact your revenge. Hi, my name is Sebastian Portalatin, and I'm the designer for this project. The game we're making is a top-down roguelike game similar to Into the Gungeon. As you can see in our concept art, you can see that our knight looks undead and is also 2D. And you can also see the walk cycle here. A single player game full of AIs and bosses, multiple levels with randomized loadouts, and the player will also be able to pick up a variety of weapons such as a sword, spears, axes, and maybe a rock. I would say the main inspiration for this project and the idea is from Enter the Gungeon, as I specified earlier. I just really like the art style, the weapon variety, and the general charm of everything in the game.
Hello, my name is Michael Shia, and I'll be the architect for this project. Okay, for the basic functionality of the game, the framework will be created using the mono game engine, which is supported by XNA. The movements will be enemy movements and player-controlled movements using keyboards. Attacks are going to be enemy and player attacks. Inputs is basic keyboard control, but if there is a possibility, we will try to introduce gamepad support into the game. Update the window based on user controls using the update methods from the monogame template. The collision with the borders and enemy attacks. AIs are basic timings and logic on enemy attacks and movements, type of attacks they're going to do based on range, and these will be achieved by doing calculations with the object classes. So for the class design, there will be one major class called game objects, and there will be static movable objects like floors and rooms, and there are going to be classes for characters that will include players, enemies, and bosses. And there will be classes that will divide usable items into melee and ranged. And finally, there will be two classes for movements and user input.
Hello, my name is Ramon Church Jr., and I'll be working on the interface for Castle Raiders. The interface for Castle Raiders will be a pretty simple interface. The top left of the screen, there will be a certain number of parts representing your health, most likely 3 to 4. In the top center, you will have from left to right the level number and then the room name so that you always know where you're at and what level you are on. In the top right, you have a map layout. It'll let you know where you are on the screen compared to the enemies and to look forward to when you're moving throughout the map. The bottom middle of the screen will have the weapon keybinds. In this illustration, you can basically see a pretty good overview of the UI. Like I said, in the top left, there are the 3 hearts that represent your health. Right in that top middle area, you see level 1 and the grand entrance, which is basically the level number and the room name right next to it. In the top right, you see a rough sketch of the map design and how that grand entrance will look. And right in the middle is just the whole game. That's where the game will be, and it has its own big screen so that nothing can really obscure your sight. And right in the bottom middle there is the keybinds, B for the sword, N for the axe, and M for some magic. Hey, my name is Ramel Church Jr., and I am team lead as well as UI. The timeline for our project is pretty simple. We're just going to follow the milestone, and we start out with milestone 1. We'll be working on the mono game setup a lot of setup and creations, starting out the UI, starting out the inputs, and basically the framework of the game so that eventually when we get into the next step, we'll have that basic foundation set. Once we get into the next step, we'll see if we can add any extra features, constantly playtest the game to see if to get rid of any bugs and debug, and eventually the game will be released to, well, you, Professor, and like maybe even the rest of the world online. My team and I have been able to establish our wants and needs. Our wants are potions that provide buffs and nerfs, not health potions, but potions that provide buffs and nerfs. So potions that give your character an extra boost of damage or give your character an increased damage intake. Advanced enemy design, so that would include like more different enemy types and completely different character designs for them. That may take some time. Advanced animations and effects, so different attack animations, different enemy like animations when they're together. Advanced map design, so that's basically includes hidden rooms, any hidden chests to find, basically like Easter eggs in a way. And then more weapon types include, instead of just a regular sword, we would include maybe a long sword that has its own type of stats, or instead of a regular axe, we'd have a tomahawk in a way that has its own kind of stats. The needs are basically character movement. We gotta have character move, of course. Basic combat, basic AI, basic weaponry and weaponry tools. So basic sword, axe, and magic. With basic AI, they just once they see you, they're coming to attack. Basic combat, you hit the AI hits you, you take damage. You hit the AI, they take damage. Collisions, so that the hits can actually register and actually look like someone is getting hit. Bosses for the end of each level, so that the game doesn't just feel stale and there's always something to look forward to in the end. A basic setting, a basic background and border, so that the character doesn't go off screen, and so that at least you know what you're walking around in, and at least 3 floors slash basically levels for the game. As we work on our project, we'll be working on GitHub so that we can share our work by pushing and pulling it there. We'll meet on Mondays from 6:30 to 9:20 p.m. our lab times, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. so that we can do extra work and converse with each other about anything that needs to be done. We use Google Docs and Discord to keep in touch with each other and keep each other up to date, not only on homework, but also on the next milestone and what our next objective is.
And this will be the end of the presentation for Three Musketeers on our project for the year. CastleRaiders, thank you for listening to our presentation and have a good day.